Tonight, we've obtained new body camera footage showing the initial response to an incredibly disturbing case that unfolded more than 4 years ago in Phoenix. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 11. I'm Kadiba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. Back in January of 2020, 3 children, all of them under the age of 4, were found dead in their home. Their mother, Rachel Henry, was arrested and charged with their murders.
12 News journalist Bianca Bono has been combing through hours of footage released today. And Bianca, what does that video show?
Guys, the videos don't show the alleged confession Rachel Henry made, but they do show the initial police and fire response, Henry's initial statements, and her ultimately getting taken away in handcuffs. We want to warn you, the details in this case are disturbing. Newly released video showing what happened the night of January 20th, 2020.
No.
22-year-old Rachel Henry screams and cries outside of a Phoenix home as first responders rush in.
Can I get your name, ma'am? Rachel Henry.
Her 3 children, all under the age of 4, were dead.
They were sick. And we were trying to get an appointment, and I told her so many times, please take me to the doctor.
This is the first time we're seeing Henry's initial statements to officers, telling them all 3 of her children had been sick. So she gave them ibuprofen and put them down for a nap. They would never wake up.
They fell asleep watching a movie. And Dad came home and he was laying on the couch, and I told him to watch him.
As the chaotic and disturbing scene continued to unfold, police separated Henry from the children's father and aunt.
Homicide's involved.
She began telling an officer she had previously struggled with a meth addiction, adding she wants a better life.
Just asking the Lord for forgiveness so I can move on and start over and start fresh and forgive myself.
Meanwhile, the children's aunt raising concerns to police about Henry's behavior.
The girl was weird. I'm afraid we're going to come home one day and find her drowning the kids in the tub.
As officials combed through the traumatic scene, Henry was taken to the police station. Video of her formal interview was not released, but not long after, she's put into handcuffs and taken into custody. Records show her initial story was a far cry from the heinous truth. Police say she confessed to killing her kids, admitting to singing nursery rhymes to her 3 young children as she smothered them, positioning them down as if they were sleeping. She was indicted on 3 counts of first-degree murder, and the state will seek the death penalty. And despite this happening more than 4 years ago, this case is still playing out in court. Rachel Henry has pleaded not guilty and is set to go to trial in March of next year. We're live in studio tonight. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
Bianca, thanks. People living in Sunflower, which is about 30 miles northeast of Fountain Hills, are on set status tonight, meaning they have to be ready to evacuate at a moment's notice because of the sandstone fire, which officials believe was started by lightning last Thursday. So far, it's burned over 23,000 acres with no containment. The southbound lanes of State Route 87 are closed between Payson and Fountain Hills as crews battle the flames.
A Valley apartment complex is at the center of an attorney general investigation for not having air conditioning for its hundreds of tenants. They were ordered to have the problem fixed by last Friday, but some residents say that more needs to be done. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly went back out to the complex to find out where the situation currently stands.
I reached out to the Attorney General's office today to find out if the AC here at the Buenos on 32nd Apartments is back on and working, but I couldn't get a straight answer. A spokesperson says they can't comment because this is still under investigation, so we decided to come here to check it out for ourselves.
We need our freaking air back on.
Stepping into one of the apartments at this Phoenix complex feels like you're walking into a sauna.
It's very hot.
That's pretty miserable.
That's what residents living at the Buenos on 32nd told us last week. Around the same time, Attorney General Chris Mays sent them this letter telling management they needed to get all 400 units fixed with proper AC by July 26th, a deadline that has since passed. When we arrived at the property, we noticed some changes, like this giant AC system that appears to be rented, with large hoses leading to one of the buildings. It was on and appeared to be working. Mark Fair, who lives here, says it was.
And it was working perfectly.
Telling us his air was back on a day after our last report. But then, this past weekend,
It went back off again.
he said it's sort of functional.
It's working okay now, but it's still compromised.
showing us that he can't turn the thermostat lower than 80 degrees. Otherwise, it turns off.
It's not cold.
When we used our own temperature reader to see how hot it was,
It's about 80 degrees.
which is legally acceptable according to city code. Now, he also has a portable AC system in his window, like dozens of other apartments, which is just enough to make it bearable. Because when we tested out ones that don't have it, we saw triple-digit temperatures indoors.
It actually got up to that when the air conditioning went out.
While Fair says the situation he and so many others are in is getting better, more needs to be done.
Just be honest with me and do better.
Asking the Attorney General to step up efforts in this case.
Keep the fire lit on it and they'd probably have better results.
At this time, we still haven't heard back from management at the apartment complex, but the AG's office told me that they are in communication with them. We're in Phoenix. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Chase, thanks. And I'll tell you what, over the next couple of days, Lindsay, it sounds like those folks, if their air conditioning isn't working, are going to be in bad shape.
Yes, that's because temperatures will be rising. It'll be less about the monsoon moisture this week and more about the rising temperatures over the coming days. Here's a look at that temperature trend. Our average high right now is 106. Daily highs through Friday are going to be around 110. But then look what happens this weekend, up to 113. And we will have a stretch of 1-teens for the weekend heading into early next week. Okay. Even the high country, 80s and 90s, lower storm chances there as well. Flagstaff likely staying mostly dry through Thursday, but the White Mountains will have the best chance at some thunderstorms, especially by Wednesday and Thursday. We're mainly dry around Sedona and lots of dry time along the rim. Here's a look at our 12 News exclusive monsoon meter for tomorrow. The highest coverage of storms will be southeastern Arizona, a 5 near the Tucson area. White Mountains looking at a 3. A 1 just means a rogue shower, mostly dry. A 0 is completely dry. So lots of dry time over the next couple of days. Storm chances will start ramping up again for the high country beginning this weekend.